Hello, everyone. I'm Dijon,
And I'm Aiara.
and welcome to the Mustardcast, the podcast about the art of storytelling and how it's used across different mediums. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see our channel grow, and to click the notification bell so that you're notified when we post. As usual, free Palestine, forever and always until it is done. Um,
hmm
what media have you been interacting with lately?
So, as you know, as a lot of people know, Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door, the remake came out on the 23rd. I have been playing it for 3 days straight. I'm already on chapter three. It is peak, I fear, and that's about it. I've been waiting for this since they announced it last year, and it is so good.
Okay, well, if you want to go into more detail, we can get into it in the video game section. Is what else? Or
That's it.
that's it? You just been playing Thousand Year
That's
Door?
it. That I've just been playing Thousand Year Door exclusively.
It's funny. Okay. Well, for me, been playing Hades because I just got this burning
Mm.
itch for Hades because of Hades 2,
Hmm.
and having a good time. Slowly making my way towards the like, I guess true ending, if it can be called that. Um, and like getting all the other stuff, like getting Patroclus and uh, Achilles together, and Orpheus and Eurydice, because it's just, I don't know, it's just taking a long time. Because
Mm-mm.
it's randomized for the most part. So I kind of
Yeah.
just gotta wait. The like true ending is just depending on how many runs you do, but all the getting the couples together is completely different. It's just mostly randomized,
Yeah.
and I'm close to getting Orpheus and Eurydice together because I got a line dialogue that came close, and I was like, okay, a couple more runs, and I'm unlocking new aspects that because I didn't have, I think, what is it, the fourth aspect for a lot of weapons. I got the
Mm.
Excalibur aspect for the sword. Um,
Nice.
it's so slow and it's so strong. And I have fun, and I only because every time I tend to just clear runs every time, but now because I'm
Hmm.
experimenting more, I'm dying more. Because I'm
Right.
like I'm too good at this point. It takes me an average of like 34 minutes to make it all the way to the end and beat Hades now. So now I'm just experimenting, and I got a new aspect of the bow, the last aspect of the bow that I've been using. I'm
Nice.
in a
Nice.
I'm in a run with that. Yeah, Hades, just a good game. Um,
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, I be watching people play Hades too, and I'm like, man, you suck. I could do better than that.
That's a big reason why I haven't watched any Hades 2 gameplay yet, because I know it'll just make me mad.
Because one of the bosses moves like telegraphs so much and moves so slow, and I'm like, how are you getting hit by anything? I don't know. Maybe it'll be different when I'm playing it, but I feel like one of the bosses is just like, what are you doing? I'm watching somebody play, and I'm like, what are you doing? You should not be getting hit by these slow attacks. And it's the type of person who like fixates on a very specific aspect of like their build and forgets about all the other
Oh,
tools they have, and I'm like, it's annoying.
yikes.
Watching some more Mr. and Mrs. Smith. I got to like episode 6 and then just stopped. Not because I wasn't liking it, but I think it's because I was watching it on my Amazon account, and I had it for like a month to watch. What was I watching? I don't remember. I was watching something. I think it was might have been Invincible.
Hmm.
And yeah, then it ran out. But then I just logged into my mom's, and no, it was for something else. It might have been Reacher, and then I logged into my mom's to
Mm.
watch Invincible, and then now I'm finally getting back into watching Mr. and Mrs. Smith. I got, I think, 2 episodes left. Um,
Mm.
and I need to watch the last episode of Atlanta. I just keep forgetting. One of these days, I just got to sit down and watch the last episode of Atlanta. I have 1 episode left.
Real.
Still watching Batman Beyond. It's still good. Batman Beyond is just a great show. There's a character in Batman Beyond that, unfortunately, it's a black girl, and she's
Mm.
very important to the story. And she's voiced by legendary voice actress Cree Summer, the voice of every black girl in every cartoon in
Yep.
the '90s. She
Yep.
voices, I can't remember her name, but the black girl in Rugrats, and she voices
Mm.
number 5 in Codename Kids Next Door. Um,
Hmm.
Again, she voices every black girl in every cartoon ever. She actually voiced
Right.
She Hulk at some point as well, which is really cool. I think it
Really?
was in the '90s Fantastic Four cartoon specifically, actually.
Oh, makes sense.
Which I'm
Makes
gonna get
sense.
around watching that eventually. Um, but yeah, she's like a great character who's basically his like oracle, and
Hmm.
in the comics they just completely sideline her. From what I understand, I haven't read tons of Batman Beyond comics, but I'm like, come on now. Whenever they get around to
Like,
making a movie, whether it's live action or animated, she better be a big part of the movie. They better not try to forget that she ever existed when she's such an important part of the show, where Batman Beyond and that whole mythos originated.
Right.
I'm finished with Ben 10 Alien Force. And soon I'll be moving on to Ultimate Alien. But I'm taking a break because, like I said, I started rewatching Ben 10 because Blind Wave, the reaction YouTube channel I watch literally every day, was watching it. And they watched the original series, then they watched Alien Force. And then, what is it, X-Men 97 won their last poll. But they're already, I think, or they're close to being done with it because it's only, I think, like 9 or 10 episodes. So the next thing to win the poll is probably going to be Ultimate Alien. So I'm excited for that. I'm excited to get to Omniverse because Omniverse, I've seen a little bit of it, but I haven't seen all of it. And of course, that's the end of the original timeline.
Right.
Which hopefully they just continue the original timeline with Ben 10K, which they should have always done. I don't know why they thought they needed to reboot it. No, just do Ben 10K. That's all we want. Just continue on. Still watching Dungeon Meshi. It's a good show.
Right. Oh yeah, Dungeon Meshi. Also, I forgot.
Yeah, it's just a good show.
Yeah.
Kaiju No 8, fun, real fun, and I'm reading it as well. Kaiju No 8 is great. You should definitely check it out if you like kaiju's and monsters and stuff. Demon Slayer season. I don't even know which season this is. Season 4. What was it? It was the movie was after the first season, and then it was the Entertainment District arc right after the movie. I think it was, and then after that it was the season before last. So I think this is season 4, it feels weird. It feels like there's been more seasons than there are. But
right.
There's probably one season left. Maybe a season and a movie. But I've read the entirety of the manga. So yeah, based on what I know, there's at least one season left. Maybe they'll stretch it out to 2 seasons, pull an Attack on Titan or something like that. But
I hope
because it's gonna be mostly fighting. Then the next season is going to be mostly fighting. This arc is literally a training arc leading up to the big final confrontation.
Gotcha.
So it's going to be mostly fighting. So that can mean several things. It could mean that they split it into multiple seasons because it's going to be real expensive because it's going to be mostly fighting. But at the same time, fighting means that the episodes are going to be shorter because it's going to be mostly fighting. Or not that episodes going to be shorter, but events are going to just go by so much faster because it's mostly fighting. Unless they decide to stretch things out, which most modern anime tend to not do a bunch of filler stuff like old anime do. So, if anything, if they really feel the need of like, okay, we want to, use our money wisely to make sure the fights are always as good as they have been the entirety of the series, because the animation is incredible by Ufotable, they'll probably do a season and a movie if they want to do more than one season, rather than 2 more seasons, I feel like.
That makes sense to me.
I feel like that makes the most sense. And they'll probably break records again if they do that, because the first movie ended up breaking, I forget what Ghibli movie had the record for like highest grossing anime movie of all time, but the first Demon Slayer movie broke that record. What else I got?
Oh, wow.
I finally started my journey to catching up on One Piece.
Oh, wow.
At the beginning of the Wano arc, I know I'm deeper into it than that. I had made significant portion into one arc when I was reading it, but I don't remember what happened. Or I remember some of it, but I don't remember most of what happened. So I was just like, I'm just gonna watch it again from the beginning.
Right, makes sense.
And, I'm the hardest part of most things is just starting, and I'm over that hump. So I'll try to watch at least one episode a week, whenever. Because I got to cut on my PlayStation to watch Crunchyroll, because there's not a dedicated Crunchyroll app for the LG TV app, or WebOS as they call it. But there is like you can go online, but for some reason the web browser, at least this was months ago, I haven't tried it again since the web browser stopped working, which is how I was watching Crunchyroll beforehand. But so I tend to just watch it on Sunday when I watch all the other anime that comes out on Sunday, which is
makes sense.
Demon Slayer and Kaiju No 8. But otherwise, I'll try to watch multiple episodes a week, because otherwise it would take me a long time. Because I'm 228 episodes behind, which in the grand scheme of things ain't that much, because when I was watching One Piece, there were 700 episodes that I had to catch up on when I first started. Not started watching, because I've been watching it since I was a kid, but on and off again. I wasn't like watching it consistently. But, when I finally decided to sit down and watch all of it, there was like 700 something episodes. So I'm like, 220 is light work. And I just I'm running through X-Men. I got 4 episodes left in the 4th season before I get to the 5th season, which is only 10 episodes. So, I can do this.
Light work. No sweat.
Let's see. I'm still watching what is it called? Vinland Saga, which is fun. I'm excited to get season 2, because I know where the story's going, and And I think I watched Blind Wave react to it before, but I'm glad I don't remember most of it because it's so that way it's still new and exciting for me,
Right.
and I'm not just spoiled on everything that's gonna happen. And of course, like I said, X-Men. Still watching that. Professor X keeps that thing on him.
Oh yeah.
When Master Mold sent some Sentinels after him to like get revenge because Xavier destroyed him or destroyed his body, when the mind games wouldn't work, he pulled out the stick. As soon as he opened up a compartment on the chair, and my first thought was, ain't no way that man got a burner. There's no way he has a gun. And then he pulled out a gun, and I was like, of course he has a gun. Why wouldn't he? Not everybody can be controlled through mind. He gotta have a gun every now and again.
He keep that thing on him.
He keeps
We'd
it on.
We'd love to see it.
He really pulled out a stick. It was crazy. But yeah, there was a 2-episode arc dedicated to Storm and Logan being together. And that makes me wish that was like the end game ship for them. In the comics, they've done it as well. And Black Panther doesn't like Wolverine because of that. In the comics,
which is really funny.
Black Panther hates Wolverine because he dated Storm at one point. But yeah, it's a good ship. I like it.
Yeah, they're very cute together.
Last but not least, My Adventures. Actually, what am I talking about? I'm just going to talk about that in the animation section. But I am watching My Adventures Superman. But we'll get to that. I sent you a trailer for Berserk, the Black Swordsman arc, which is
and I watched it.
A fan project by Studio Eclipse, and it looks so good. We talked about it a while back when there was only like a little teaser or something out, but now they have a full trailer, and it's coming out summer of 2025 next year.
Nice.
And yeah, I need to watch the 97 Blu-ray that I got a while back eventually. Yeah, it looks good. It looks real good. It's crazy to see a fan project on this scale. Hopefully we get like an official anime remake one of these days, because Berserk deserves it.
Berserk definitely deserves it.
But yeah, My Adventures with Superman. Did you manage to check it out? Or were you just too busy playing?
Too busy playing
Mario.
1,000 Year Door. Man, but I thought about it, and I'll probably watch it tonight.
But yeah, it was good, I don't know. Something about the writing feels a little stilted sometimes, but it's a good show. It's fun. Yeah, they're great at writing the relationship between Lois and Clark. It's a fun show. I can't say too much without spoiling it. There's there's a tease at a certain very specific villain. They said his name. They said Hank, and I was like, Hank. I know a Hank. I was like, Hank is a nickname for Henry, and then I was thinking of the last name, and then I remember the name, and I was like, oh, Hank Henshaw. And I know who Hank Henshaw is, and I know what he becomes. I know what you are, Hank.
I know what you are is crazy.
And then they had Damage, which was crazy. So Damage, there's no reason you would know who Damage is, because it's kind of crazy. I know who Damage is, because Damage is such an obscure DC character who is essentially like, he was created, honestly, not even that long ago. I don't even think he's 10 years old.
Wow.
He was essentially meant to be like their version of like the Hulk almost. And yeah, they introduced a version of that character in the show. And I said it once and I'll say it again. I'll never get over the voice actor for Jerry voicing Deathstroke. Who thought that was a good idea? His voice does not suit a goddamn mercenary. It doesn't make any sense. But yeah, fun show. Moving on to comics. I got a lot to talk about when it comes to comics.
Yay!
So first we're going to start off with Mark Waid's Flash. The best Flash story I've ever read so far. So spoiler alert for the Return of Barry Allen storyline from Mark Waid's Flash run. But Barry Allen returns from the dead, to the surprise of everyone, because like I've been talking about as I've been reading this, Barry Allen's dead, Wally West is the Flash now.
Right.
And sparking everybody's surprising everyone, but sparking Wally's insecurity in his abilities as the Flash and living up to Barry's legacy. But when Barry starts to show jealousy and resentment toward Wally taking up the Flash mantle, he ends up leaving Wally for dead in a villain's trap.
Oh, wow.
And then Wally escapes, but then he gives up being a superhero. Until, in his depressed stupor, he stumbles upon a clue that reveals that Barry isn't who he says he is. He's actually the Reverse Flash, Eobard Thawne, who traveled back in time to meet the Flash, but found out that he was dead. So he decided to do the next best thing and actually become the Flash and take his place. Wow. It's an incredible storyline that solidifies Wally West as the Flash. It's so good. It's so good. I highly suggest reading it. But a little backstory on Reverse Flash for people who don't know. His whole thing is that he is obsessed with the Flash. He's like a Flash super fan, and in the future, it's a future where essentially superheroes don't exist anymore, and people don't really remember much about superheroes. So their identities are just widely known, like that who the superhero was in like their secret identity. So Iris West, Barry's wife, wrote a book about her life with the Flash, and he knows everything about Barry, and he loves Barry to the point to where he got surgery to make his face look like Barry.
That's
So when he comes
silly.
back in time, he looks just like Barry, and he could pretend to be Barry. But yeah, he's also, despite being a huge Flash fan, he's also the biggest Flash hater at the same time, and is the greatest hater in all of fictional stories in general. There is no hater greater than Earbard Thawne the Flash.
No hater greater is insane.
No hater greater. But yeah, it's a good storyline. Margaret's Flash is great. Moving on to Wonder Woman, issue number 8 by Tom King. Wonder Woman is captured by the self-proclaimed King of America and is being brainwashed by his lasso of lies into becoming subservient to men. But of course she breaks free and prepares to beat the brakes off of him.
Right, of course.
Action Comics House of Brainiac, number 1. It's a story act that's spanning multiple comics. The first part was in Action Comics, and Brainiac has gathered a force of Zarnians, the thought to be extinct race that Lobo is a part of, and kidnaps everyone in Metropolis with superpowers. And in the second part of that story, in Superman, Superman hunts down Lobo to find out what he knows about the return of his people and why they've kidnapped his friends and family. And in a House of Brainiac tie-in comic with Power Girl wasn't taken by Brainiac due to having a different energy signature because she's from a different universe. So she's left to protect Metropolis alongside the Steels and Hawkgirl when she finds that one of the Zarnians was left behind by Brainiac, but it turns out to be Lobo's daughter and former Teen Titan, Crush.
Oh, wow.
Poison Ivy number 12. We get the end of her origin story. We reach the point where Pamela receives her powers by being convinced to undergo an experimental procedure by her very creepy professor/boyfriend after being hospitalized, of course, because she let that man inject weird plant stuff in her. That sounded weird, but that's not how I meant it.
No, but
But yeah, she starts to feel a tug toward Gotham, where the planet is hurting the most from pollution, and thus begins her crusade of environmental terrorism. Now this one's real good. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna save it for last.
Okay.
That's how good it is. I'm gonna save it for last.
right. Okay.
Jay Garrick the Flash. The end of this mini story. Jay scours the earth in search of his daughter Judy after she was kidnapped by Dr. Elemental, and when he finds her, he discovers that her connection to the Speed Force is being used to turn 10% of humanity into metahumans, while killing the other 90 as a form of forced evolution. To stop this from happening, Jay has to run faster than light to destroy the conduits at Star Labs across the planet before Judy's energy reaches each of them. The Flash, little tie-in issue with this event happening called DC Absolute that's leading into like this alternate universe they're creating that's essentially meant to be DC's version of the Ultimate Universe from Marvel. The Speed Force is supposedly destroying the world every time speedsters use it. So Amanda Waller is attempting to prevent all speedsters from using the Speed Force as part of her campaign against heroes. But yeah, get into oh my god. So I started reading George Perez's Wonder Woman, and first off, rest in peace to the legend George Perez.
Right.
Incredible writer and artist. R.I.P. But oh my god, is this comic so good? So there's just one weird part. But so the origin of Paradise Island is very good until it gets it gets very victim blaming. So let me explain. Essentially, Artemis wants to create a new race of humans who are all women to spread peace and acceptance across the world. And she's petitioning this to Zeus, but Ares opposes this, believing that humans can only be ruled through violence.
Interesting.
Zeus eventually takes no side and just tells them to do whatever they want. So Artemis, Athena, Demeter, Persephone, Aphrodite, and Hestia create the Amazons. While Ares poisons man's mind against the Amazons, convincing the world that they're murderers and conquerors, and using their the sexism of the time to essentially turn everybody against them.
Right.
As a result, Heracles is sent with an army to take them down. But after being bested in single combat by Hippolyta, he yields and agrees to join them in their battle for peace. They throw a party to celebrate the union, but of course, this is a trick. Heracles drugged Hippolyta's drink and had his men attack the Amazons while their guard was down. Many were killed, and presumably all of them were violated, including Hippolyta by Hercules. Here's where the victim blaming part comes in. When Hippolyta escapes and vows revenge, Athena claims that they lost their way, and that this is payment for hiding behind walls when they were supposed to be spreading peace and love. And then she exiles them to Paradise Island, where they would be immortal, but have to guard an incredible evil in the depths of the island. But Hippolyta's sisters thinks that this is bullshit as it is, and leaves with a group of Amazons for revenge. I prefer how Wonder Woman Historia, which is a comic that was released a year or so ago, maybe a couple, like 2 years ago, handles this aspect of their origin. I'm trying to remember if you were on the podcast when I talked about it. You might not have, but you should read Wonder Woman Historia. You don't need to know anything about Wonder Woman to read the story. It's literally, the whole story is a retelling of the origin of the Amazons, kind of taking inspiration from George Perez and the origins before then, because this Wonder Woman run is from like the 80s, I believe. Wonder Woman's been around since like the 40s.
Right.
So there's multiple different versions of her origin, but this one from Perez is the most famous. And while it is good, like I said, it gets real victim blaming towards the end of it. But in Wonder Woman Historia, the way that they spin it is that, of course, they go and get revenge, and the goddesses don't tell them to stop. Athena doesn't go, "How dare you?" They tell them to stop in the sense that if you do this, Zeus will be mad. You're going to kill his favorite son. And they say, "I don't care. Him and his men just assaulted all of us. Every single one of us. I don't care. He's going to die." And they literally rip him apart.
As they should.
And then they send his head to Olympus. And Zeus gets mad. And I like this so much better because they don't get sent to the island as punishment from another woman goddess. They get sent to the island, to Paradise Island, as a punishment from Zeus, a man, because they killed his son, who did horrible things to them. And that just works so much better as a story. Yeah. And rather than having a goddess try to victim blame them, have them actually have like Zeus be the person that gets upset because they killed his son, or his favorite son. So yeah, that just makes so much more sense. And I like to pretend that's just how it happened. Especially since that's how it's happened now in the canon of the comics. Right. Yeah, comics are real good so far. I'm excited to read more of it.
It sounds good.
Moving on to TV and film. Again, read Wonder Woman Historia. It's real good. It's not too long either. Moving on to TV and film. There was a little teaser for Knives Out 3 titled, Ryan Johnson posted on Twitter that the next Benoit Blanc mystery, which, by the way, that's not what the movies are called as much as they should be. They're called a Knives Out mystery in like the subheading. Like it was called Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery, because Knives Out, of course, is the popular name that will get people's attention. But it should be called like whatever the title of it is, a Benoit Blanc mystery, because it's like Knives Out was a very specific story, and then there's more. Like it's like old novels that these are based off of, where it would be the title of the detective that's doing all of this, and then the title of the mystery that they're solving. I understand why they're doing it this way, because Knives Out is a more recognizable name, but I would prefer it if they just used the name of the character.
It makes sense.
But yeah, he says the follow-up to Knives Out and Glass Onion is called Wake Up Dead Man. And yeah, I'm excited because Knives Out was great. Glass Onion, in my opinion, was even better. And yeah, have you seen either?
Seen part of the first Knives Out, but not the whole thing. Yeah, I've heard many good things though.
Glass Onion was released on Netflix, and so will this next one be. Which, I'm fine with that. But at the same time, I wish it was like it releases in theaters at the same time.
Right.
But preferably beforehand, because I don't know, if it releases in theaters at the same time, I'll probably just watch it at home. But if it releases in theaters before it's on Netflix, then I would go to the movies to watch it because I would have no choice. And I like to go to the movies.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm excited for this. We also got a trailer for Dune Prophecy, a 6-episode series set 10,000 years before the movies. It drops on Max this fall. And the movies have been real good, so I'm excited to see this show. And a lot of people believe that Dune should have always been a show to begin with due to the length of the story. So I'm excited to see what they cover in this, if this is based off of any of the novels. Because I know there are some of the novels that aren't written by, what is it, Herbert?
Yeah, they're written by his like nephew or son or whatever,
Yeah.
and they're not considered canon. It's a whole thing.
And like, yeah, so I'm not sure if he actually wrote some prequels to the story or not, but I'm interested to see this because the Dune movies have been real good, and HBO tends to put a lot of money into their series. I guess since we're talking about HBO and series, there have been some images from The Last of Us season 2,
Right.
and the person, because they're non-binary, the person playing Ellie, I can't remember their name. Let me look it up real quick. She was in Game of Thrones. Oh, excuse me, they were in Game of Thrones. Bella Ramsey. Despite the fact that they are technically a year older than what Ellie will be in the show, they look younger. And they haven't really done much to make them look like they're 19 versus still looking like they're the same age. And that happens in real life. But at the same time,
Right.
in the game, Ellie looks older. So they could have done some more stuff, because when you look at pictures of Bella Ramsey just on her Instagram, they look like they're 20 years old, versus in the show, the way that they're kind of like doing the makeup and the hair, they're making them look younger than they are. And I don't know, it's just a weird decision on their part.
Yeah.
But I'm excited for it. First season was
Yeah,
good.
it's really exciting.
The second game is my favorite, and so I'm excited to see that story adapted. The story, I love it. You know what happened. There was a lot of controversy surrounding it, and they could potentially fix some of that, because while I love the story and most of the things they did doesn't bother me, I can see there's certain aspects of it where I'm like, they could have done it a slightly differently, and maybe it would have went over a little bit better because of that. But ultimately, most of the hate just surrounded a bunch of sexist people, so it doesn't matter. It probably wouldn't have changed much anyway. But I'm excited for the second season. It really sucks. It's really hard for me to enjoy The Last of Us, because the creative director, and I think he might be. I know he was promoted a while back and is in like a bigger leadership role at Naughty Dog now. And he's a Zionist. We talked about this before. And he also supports AI, and I'm just like, this dude sucks. I can't remember his name right now.
And then also, didn't he like the proposed plot for the original Last of Us was like like the cordyceps could only infect women. It was just like this really weird.
I saw that as well, and I was just like, Neil Druckmann, he's just, all this stuff that's been coming out about him just makes it harder for me to like, and like, I'm torn about whether or not I'm going to purchase the next game they make, because it's like, he's one person of a team of hundreds, and it's really just a matter of trying to, at some point before their next game comes out, figure out what is, like, how many people in there actually like this man or like support this man's views, and like, is there any way to play that game, just, what's the word, I guess, any morally correct way for me to play that game, because this guy sucks so bad, and I just don't want to touch anything that he's played that I don't already own. Assuming that he's made. I said played. But
I get what you mean.
He just sucks so bad. But they make such good games, it's not just him that's making those games good. In fact, those games are being made good in spite of him, based on some of the stuff we've heard.
Right.
So moving on to video games, actually. You know what? We just keep talking about video games then. We just keep talking about Neil Druckmann for a little bit. What is it? He had a little interview about like the next game they're making, talking about how it'll be, I don't know, he said something about it advancing games. And I want to get into something that's just kind of tangentially related to that, where a discussion this was never explicitly said by him. This was just an inference or something that someone thought would be cool if it was the case. Is like, what if the next Naughty Dog game wasn't as hyper realistic as every Naughty Dog game has been? What if it was stylized? And that would be dope, because if
That would be dope.
a prestigious studio like Naughty Dog, a AAA studio like them, makes a super stylized game and it does well, it's going to encourage other studios to do more than just realistic games. You know, at the end of the day, there's nothing wrong with realism. It's just that when that's the majority of AAA games, that's when it becomes a problem. So it's
Right.
like,
And hasn't
and we can
Naughty
have.
Dog like
Go ahead.
hasn't Naughty Dog reached a point where it's like their games cannot get any more realistic
Yeah,
with the technology that we have
Last of Us
now?
Part Two
Yeah.
came out on PS4. I played it on PS4. It looks incredible on PS4. It looks no different on PS5. They did remaster it, so it looks a little bit. It looks a little bit better. And I didn't buy the remaster because that was literally that was right when I found out he was designing this, and I was just like, I'm not buying this shit.
Right. Right.
And I was really excited for it too. I was so mad. I was like, God damn it! Why does he have to suck so bad?
Right.
So like it looks a little bit better, but like that game looks so good that there wasn't much they could do to make it look better. So like yeah, we've reached a peak when it comes to realism in games. So at
Right.
this point, it's a matter of okay, let's give realism a break. We know how to do it good. We know how to make realism good. We know how to make hair look good. At least white people hair. You know, there's some black people in Last of Us, and their hair does look pretty good. So it's not that they don't know how to do black people hair; it's just that they're not usually the main characters. So there's not as
Right.
much effort put into their hair, and there's not a lot of effort put into making various different types of black hairstyles look good. Like they put a
Right.
lot of work into making like long flowing white people hair look good, but have they put in a lot of work into making long braids from black people look good?
Right.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah, like it's just
like the
a
type of
Killmonger cut.
yeah,
We
the
keep getting it.
like they know how to make good dreads.
Right. And I saw a thread on Twitter the other day, it might have been yesterday actually, where it was like talking about I think a character from Arcane and talking about how he had the Killmonger cut. And then one of the like the artists
Yeah,
on the
but
project
he
was
looks
like,
so good.
well, it's
He's one of the
really
best
hard. He
examples.
does.
He
He
has
does.
like Echo's redesign in Arcane. He looks significantly better than he does in the games. In the games, he has a white person mohawk,
Yeah.
and then they gave him the Killmonger cut, and
Yeah.
he looks so good. So he's the one example that I'm just like I can't be mad at it because he did it when it was still
He,
early and it wasn't as much of a problem, and it looks so good.
yeah. He got that shit on. Like I can't say that he doesn't. But it was like one of the creative directors from Arcane. I don't even remember if it was actually Arcane or not. I just remember it was a black guy with Killmonger cut, whatever. They were like, well, it's really hard to do black hairstyles because it requires so many polygons and this, that, and the third. And
No,
I'm
it
like
does.
that.
Black hair
Yeah.
doesn't even need to move as much as white hair because our hair
That's
is
what I'm
like
saying. Like
so
it
tight.
really
It's so tightly coiled that the whole point of it is that we tend to try it like it stays in place.
right.
So
And
like
that really like rubbed me the wrong way, especially because this was a black dude saying this. It's like, why are you making excuses? You know it's possible.
yeah, it's people are weird. But we'll get to more stuff like that towards the end. We talked about some indie games like usual at the top of the video game section because I just my
Yep.
algorithm is just used to it now. I sent you a trailer for this game called Rooftops and Alleys, which is essentially like the parkour equivalent of a skate. And if I'm not mistaken, it's all been made by one dude, and it looks really good. He released a video showing the gameplay, and I meant to watch before this, but I haven't yet, so I might talk about it more next episode. It looks so good. It's just a bunch of like really precise and very like based in like realistic parkour movements that just looks really fun.
Right.
And, it's just like I said, it's kind of like the Skate series but for parkour. Speaking of which, there's going to be parkour in the next Skate game. That's good. That's the free to play one that I'm excited for. I hope because it's EA. I hope they don't make it super micro transactional. Like at the end of the day, microtransactions don't bother me as long as I can play the game without using them. Because it's like if my character just has to look like a bum because I can't afford to buy all
the
of the clothes and
microtransactions,
stuff,
whatever.
as long as it's still fun to play, I'm fine.
Right.
So at the end of the day, I hope that game is fun to play, and since it'll be free to play, I'll definitely be playing it. I'll give it a try. And I love Skate. Skate 3 is one of I was gonna say it's my favorite skateboarding game, but it's literally the only skateboarding game I've played. So yeah, I like that game a lot. Skate 3 is a great game.
It's a good game.
So I'm excited for it. They're simply just calling it Skate, which makes sense because free to play is going to be around for a very long time, as long as it's good.
Right.
Killborg, essential trailer for this. Experience brutal combat with your friends. Face hordes of mutants and enemies. Fight with fists, weapons, and firearms. Transform your body into a powerful machine. Show them what you can do. Killborg is a fast-paced, story-driven action game With roguelike encounters, each challenge is unique and the narrative always moves forward. Win or lose, become an unstoppable war machine and face the consequences of your actions as you lead a resistance group on a faraway prison planet. Yeah, it's a cool looking 3D beat 'em up, and we just need more like mindless action games in our lives. You know, we just need more stuff like this. Not everything needs to be Hellblade, Senua Saga. No, there's some stuff about that game.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm not gonna lie, I'm like at the end of the day, I want that studio to make what they enjoy making. I want them to make what they want to make, and if this is what they want to make, they should be able to make this. It should be able to, people say like it's short, and it's like okay, I don't care, as long as it's good. It's not for me. It doesn't interest me personally. And people have a bunch of mixed opinions on it. People don't like it as much as the first one, and the problem is this is the studio that made DMC Devil May Cry, and I'm like they make good action games. I want them to take the narrative experience that they have from this game, from Hellblade series, and make a hack and slash game with a story as good as that. Because the biggest problem with hack and slash games, and I think we've had this conversation before on the podcast, but they tend to, when they start to make the bridge to more serious and honestly better written stories, they also change the gameplay, and it becomes less of an action game. It becomes less of a hack and slash. Devil May Cry turned into essentially a Souls-like for the sake of making the story what it is, and it's like that's cool. I'm not mad at them changing it up, but I would like for a game to play like Devil May Cry, to play like Bayonetta, but to have a story like God of War 2018 and God of War Ragnarok, like Hellblade, but without sacrificing the over-the-top, high-flying action that we get in those types of games. I don't think that they necessarily need to work against each other. Yeah, but there was also trending because of that game was The Order 1986 or 1886, and I love that game. It is still to this day. We talk about the peak of like realistic graphics. That game came out let me look it up, 2014 maybe, or like 2015 I think. Let me see. It came out 2015, and that game looks better than a lot of realistic games today, almost 10 years later, which is insane. It is such a good game. It was made by Ready at Dawn, and yeah, man, it's very similar to Hellblade, except that it has honestly a lot more gameplay. It's a little bit longer. It's like an hour longer.
Gotcha.
So it's like less than 10 hours long, both of these games. And the gameplay is fun. The story is great. It takes place in Victoria era London. With this like kind of like the technology is very, it takes like the inventions of Tesla and like combines it with their weaponry to make it a little bit more advanced than it would be, and adds a little bit of sci-fi element to the weaponry. And you essentially you fight werewolves and vampires. That is the game. The whole game is you're part of this group where the main members are named after the Knights of Round, and the main character is Galahad. And they go around fighting creatures of the night, and it's cool as hell. And
sounds cool.
Like the story is that they mainly fight lycans, and they didn't even know vampires existed, and now they're learning that vampires exist, and that a few of them have been alive, or maybe they knew they existed and they've been like extinct, but the whole time they've been like hidden and like sleeping in coffins, hidden underground and stuff, and now they're coming back. And it's such a good game, and if this game were to come back, it would be so good. Sony needs to let them come in and do like the studio that make Hellblade did, what's that, Ninja Theory, and just take their time and make this game again and make it really good. The gameplay, they can make it better, they can make it tighter, and they can make it look even better than it did back then, which it already looks amazing. Like it's such a good game, and I want another.
Like, let them cook.
Yeah. But yeah, moving on. There was a lot of Dead by Daylight news a few weeks ago. We got a trailer for the casting of Frank Stone, which is a game set in the Dead by Daylight universe made by Supermassive, the studio behind Until Dawn and The Quarry. Why did I write Dead by Dawn? I meant Until Dawn. Yeah. So it's going to be one of those like player choice type games, but set in the Dead by Daylight universe, which is interesting. And we also got a little kind of like developer sit down and a little bit of gameplay teaser for a game called Project T, which is a Left 4 Dead style co-op shooter set in a Dead by Daylight universe that's in development. And then we saw two new killers, both of which look really cool. The first was an official Dungeons and Dragons crossover with Wizards of the Coast, Vecna, voiced by Matt Mercer of Critical Role fame.
Interesting.
And then we got a teaser for goddamn Dracula from Castlevania, not just generic Dracula, Castlevania Dracula.
Castlevania Dracula.
And I can only assume that the titular Castlevania will be a map.
Right, of course. Yeah, I hope so. That would be fun.
Yeah, Dracula. I'm excited to see what he's
I don't even play Dead by Daylight, but that sounds like so much fun.
That sounds cool. Why y'all like licensing out Castlevania but not doing nothing with it?
Listen!
They license out Castlevania so much, but they don't do anything with the license.
Right, it's like
you got a whole animated series out right now that could easily that's strumming up so much popularity for the games. You know how many people would jump to a new Castlevania game because of that anime,
right?
Or cartoon?
Or even a remake. Like remakes are hot right now with Thousand Year Door. Super Mario RPG
Resident
still
Evil.
is popular. I say all this to say, re-release Symphony of the Night on not mobile. Make a remake of it. I buy it day one.
It's on everything. It's just they need to remake it.
But it's right. They need to remake it.
But yeah, that's cool. We got a little update about GTA 6. It's targeting fall 2025 release date or release window, surprising no one. I said it once, and I'll say it again. Rockstar also made Red Dead Redemption 2. The original one came out, like 2010, 2011? And then Red Dead Redemption 2 released in 2018, which was 7 years ago from now. And it took them 7 years to make that game. So, naturally, their next game would take just as long, if not longer. People forget that Rockstar makes more than just GTA. They make other games. And also, Red Dead Redemption 2 came out, GTA 5 came out 2013. So, came out 5 years later. And it is an evolution of everything that GTA 5 does. It is a bigger map. It looks prettier. Everything about it is just better. So, it's like, now they have to evolve, not from GTA 5, which is what everyone's thinking. They have to evolve from Red Dead Redemption 2, which is already an incredibly good-looking and good-playing game. A lot of people just are unaware of the existence of Red Dead 2. So, like the average GTA player has no idea that that game exists or that it was made by Rockstar, and they don't recognize that this is the game that they now have to live up to and evolve on top of, not GTA 5. Of course, partially GTA 5 because Red Dead Redemption 2 is a completely different type of game in a lot of ways. It's a Western versus the more modern game that is GTA. But like at the same time, in terms of from a technical standpoint, Red Dead 2 is what they have to beat. So let them cook.
Let them cook.
We got a launch trailer for Multiversus, launching May 28th, with its first season being focused on villains, with the Joker, Agent Smith from The Matrix, and Jason Voorhees being the first set of new villains added.
Interesting.
Jason was a surprise to be sure, but a welcome one. And he's built like a tank, and has a lot of moves reminiscent of MKX. If you haven't seen what he looks like in Multiversus, you should look it up. But speaking of which,
huge. It's insane.
Yeah, I'm waiting for them to add Sub-Zero because Mortal Kombat is a WB property. But Ben 10 is my most anticipated character for sure. Again, I'm not sure if they're going to do it to where like each of his moves has him transform into a different alien, or if it's going to be like Pokemon Trainer where they choose 3 aliens. We'll see. Let's see. Redfall. So, surprised we're still talking about this, but we will be getting there will be a final update for. Excuse me, I can't speak. We will be getting a final update from Arcane Austin. They posted on the official Redfall Twitter page. Thank you for all your supportive messages. We are working to release our final update, Game Update 4, that brings revamped neighborhood and nest systems, single player pausing, on offline mode, and more. We'll provide additional details soon. Thank you all. So they will let them make the offline mode so that this game doesn't disappear once they shut down servers. I always wanted to try this game out, but the forced online connectivity prevented that. So now that it'll be fully playable offline, eventually I'll probably give it a shot. There was a multiplayer focused trailer showing off several ways to play Space Marine 2 with friends, Warhammer 40k. there's a 3-player co-op with the main campaign, which was I think that was always known. But they also mentioned that there will be a PvE mode called Operations. And there will also be a 6v6 multiplayer mode called Eternal War. And there will be 6 classes of Space Marines to upgrade and customize in both of those game modes. I got to finish the first one before this one releases, September 9th. I got it for PS3 because that's the only way to play it. And yeah, it was fun while I was playing it. It's a real good game. It's like it's basically like a Warhammer hack and slash, almost like a almost Dynasty Warriors like. And from the look of the second game, it's even more because you're just tearing down hordes and hordes of these like xenomorph looking aliens, and it looks so good.
Ooh, sounds fun.
Yeah, but the altars, there were some hands-on that some gaming outlets got, and it looked cool when we saw it at the Game Awards. And now it looks even cooler and actually has me wanting to play it. Did you check out any of the... I think... Did I send another trailer to you? I can't remember or not.
So I remembered seeing another trailer at the very least.
Yeah, so to remind everyone what this game is about, The Altars is an upcoming survival video game developed and published by 11-Bit Studios. In the game, the player assumes the control of Jan, a space miner who must create alternate versions of himself in order to survive on an inhospitable planet. It reminds me of 12 Minutes, which is a very good game where you're stuck in a time loop and have to figure out how to break out of it. That got a lot of unnecessary hate because of an unethical twist in its plot that people tend to take as the devs condoning it, which very much isn't the case. It's not sexual assault or anything, but it is weird and a hell of a twist. The game also stars 12 Minutes specifically. I'm talking about stars James McAvoy of young Professor X fame as the main character, and Daisy Ridley, aka Rey from Star Wars, as his wife. And last but certainly not least, Willem Dafoe as the main antagonist. It's star-studded cast. Which is insane to me. 12 Minutes is a great game. I highly suggest playing 12 Minutes. It's
so good.
It's the psychological aspect of altars that reminds me of 12 Minutes. They're nothing like in gameplay. 12 Minutes is an isometric puzzle game, where altars is a survival and base building game. And the survival and base building aspect doesn't interest me very much, but the story I think will carry this game because the altars you make are versions of the main character that have gone down different life paths by making different choices, and as a result, they can help you better your life by building your relationships with them. And you have to I'm not sure because I know they in the previews they talked about how they made an altar who's an engineer because his father was abusive to him and his mom, and he left for college. But this version of him stood up to his dad and eventually became an engineer. Then they essentially tell them that he's not the real him, he's an alter. So I wonder if that will be if eventually you'll get a choice to tell them or not, or you lie to them and be like, no, you're from an alternate dimension and I'm pulling you from here to help me or something like that. Or if it'll just be you always tell them that they're an alter. And I'm interested to see how that story plays out because you have to balance when you make altars because you of course make different altars to help you with different things, but you also have to balance keeping them happy and you might not be able to keep them all happy and things might go wrong because of that. It'll be interesting. I'm very interested to see where this game goes. It looks really fun.
Yeah.
I'm gonna save this for last and I'm gonna talk about Zau because I played a little bit more of it and the difficulty spiked hella hard in one area. Tales of Zau. It took me a long time to fight this gauntlet of enemies, and I stopped right after that. I was like, it's fun. This game is fun. Don't get me wrong, but I was just I gotta take a break. It was wild. The difficulty spiked so hard out of nowhere. Still playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. It's a struggle trying to finish the game, not because it's bad, but because I'm just so burnt out on it. But I'm on the very last mission. I got to the point of no return, and I want to finish it before I continue with Persona 3. And last night, after forcing myself to sit down and play it for a while yesterday, I am having a lot of fun again, and I'm excited to finish out the story. So I'm going to strike while the iron is hot, and I'm still interested, and play some more tonight. And maybe I'll finish it. We'll see. But I wanted to save for the end Assassin's Creed Shadows. I know. Yes. I know what you want to talk about, but we got to save that for the end. Let's just talk about the game itself.
No. Let's talk about Assassin's Creed.
I want to save it for the end. Wait. We're going to save that stuff for the end. I got to talk about the game itself first, okay? I want to start on a positive note because this game looks good. I'm excited for this game. I'm excited for an Assassin's Creed game for the first time in years. Okay.
Yeah.
So, become a lethal shinobi assassin as Naoe and a powerful legendary samurai as Yasuke in feudal Japan. So the trailer was great, but I need to see gameplay, which we will
Yeah.
see soon, sometime in June, at the Ubisoft Forward event. Until then, we do have some info from IGN that they interviewed some developers, and they say Shadows will be replicating the format of 2015's Assassin's Creed Syndicate. Shadows
Ooh.
will feature two unique protagonists played in tandem versus in Assassin's Creed Odyssey and Assassin's Creed Valhalla. You have to choose between playing as a guy and playing as a girl.
Mm.
Whereas in this game, you just get to play as them both. Which when I first saw the trailer, I was like, I hope you can, because the trailer was like leaning towards that way, but I wasn't sure, certain, because I didn't want to have to play two completely different playthroughs of this game that's already probably going to be like 100 hours long. So like, yeah, I'm glad you just play as both of them throughout a single playthrough. But yeah, Naoe is a shinobi assassin who focuses on
Hmm.
stealth, while Yasuke is a samurai who plays more like the recent RPG games.
Right.
There will be a fully dynamic lighting system in which the radiance from sunlight for torches and lanterns can illuminate both the land and you. Escape into the shadows, though, and you're invisible. And if you can't escape the light, you can snuff it out. Lamps or their
Mm.
carriers can be eliminated to create pools of darkness. Oh my god. This is a
That's really
system.
cool.
This is a system made famous by the stealth immersive sim Pioneer Thief, and is
Yes.
used heavily in the Splinter Cell games, which are also made by Ubisoft. So I'm
Hmm.
so excited to see it used in more games. Jonathan Dumont, uh, Assassin's Creed Shadows creative director, adds, parkour has always been something that's pretty iconic and pretty core to the stealth experience because they go hand in hand. To enhance the parkour, the team has given Naoe a grappling hook. It's all physics based, so there's a little bit of improbability sometimes when using it. He says, there's a there's a danger to using it, but you could also perform assassinations from it. But the sneaking systems also pull on other aspects of the stealth genre that Creed has typically ignored. For instance, enemies can now be knocked out, unlocking the option for more pacifist playthrough. I'm so happy that this game will be bringing in stealth genre staples, like the lights,
Yeah.
like knocking people out, that the franchise has ignored for so long. Like I mentioned last episode, the stealth in Assassin's Creed games has never been particularly good. So hopefully that changes starting here.
Yeah.
They also say seasons will change based on your progress through the campaign. As spring
Ooh.
blossoms, grass grows tall enough to hide in it. Bushes become leafy, perfect to crouch behind. But as the months go by, the approaching winter kills off those natural hiding spots. Hanging icicles threaten to snap and fall, revealing your rooftop position. But at the same time, the worsening weather limits the view of enemies. Howling winds obscure your footsteps. Guard patrols stick to areas of warmth, allowing you to take new, cooler paths. And players will have to adapt constantly to what the environment is giving them. Another layer to the stealth system that gives me hope for the continued existence of the stealth genre, because this is some Metal Gear Solid 5 stuff with the desert and the sandstorms. This sounds like the Assassin's Creed of my dreams. Parkour and
Mm.
platforming that relies on skill and not just holding the right trigger and pushing forward on the joystick. A stealth system that amounts to more than just hiding in crowds and around corners. And
Mm.
actually pulls from major stealth focused games like Splinter Cell, Thief, and Hitman. Um, Something else that they mentioned that you can do is crawl. And I know that
Ooh.
sounds small, but I don't think you understand
It's a lot.
how
That's
much
a big thing.
that adds to stealth combat. Third person games with mediocre stealth only allow you to crouch and hide behind cover. But once you add the ability to go prone, everything changes. Levels have to be designed to accommodate that. Enemy AI has to be adjusted to accommodate that. And the gameplay as a whole has to be adjusted to accommodate that. The Last of Us went from a game with decent stealth that almost always, or well, good stuff, that almost always ended in gunfights and brawls, to being one of the best modern stealth action games ever due to the addition of going prone and crawling in The Last of Us Part 2. I've talked about it. I'll talk about how much I think The Last of Us Part 2 is an incredible action game. Excuse me, stealth action game. Yeah, it's something that you can't do in most games. So the addition of it is big and it means a lot. Um,
Yeah.
the full gameplay reveal, like I said, will be in June, and this game launches November 15th. Like, oh my god, like I said, like the way they're talking about the stuff. This has me going like, bruh, they're doing it. Assassin's Creed always should have been a stealth genre staple, and to some people it is, but I don't think it's been deserved. The stuff in these games has never been good. It's been okay.
Right.
It's been serviceable. It's got the job done, but it's never been
It's
good.
something. Right.
And now it sounds like it might be good. What are some good things you have to say before we get to you know what?
I have all good things to say. I've never really been into Assassin's Creed or stealth games in general, but the dynamic systems, the fact that it's more like Thief, which despite me not being into stealth games, I really, really do love Thief. I love Thief so much. It's a truly like it's one of my favorite games I've never played. Like it's so fun to watch other people play. I've never really been into it, but I know that this game will probably be something that I play because it's like I don't know, I'm just excited for it. And even with all the everything that comes with it, that honestly makes me more excited cuz I gain so much enjoyment out of seeing people seethe
Oh yeah,
over stupid
I love
stuff.
spiting racist people.
Yes, I love it. It listen. If nothing else, I will be buying this game to spite the
Yeah.
racists.
Now that we've talked about all the good stuff, let's get into the controversy. The
Mhm.
pure, unadulterated racism being displayed by so many people online toward Yasuke. So much so that they've forgotten that there's a whole nother character. They
Hey,
tell us to make our own characters. And then when we do make our own characters, in this case, one based off a real historical figure, they still hate
right.
it, proving that it's always just been racism. They try to say things like it's taken away from Japanese representation and
It's
it's
not
historically inaccurate to justify their racism, but Japanese people are proving their allyship by disproving this at every single turn. But even if he wasn't, why would it matter? It's a fictional story. And in this fictional story, he is a samurai. It doesn't matter if he really was or not. This isn't real. But he was.
right.
But at the end of the day, he actually was. So it doesn't even
Yeah.
matter. Also, like I said, there are two main characters, and one of them is Japanese. And you know racism is bad when it's almost completely overshadowed the potential sexism Naoe would be getting if she was the only character. Now she's still getting some,
Right.
but it's significantly less than it would be if it wasn't for Yasuke being in the game.
Oh yeah.
Some people are calling her the greatest assassin of all time because none of the races have noticed her.
Right.
And I got to quote the great Tony Weaver. He says, "Black people don't require an explanation to exist in fiction. They just don't."
Right.
Um, what you got to say?
I just like it really blows me that like this is such an issue. Doubly so because they're like, oh, it's not historically accurate. And it's like the things that they have done to Oda Nobunaga in fiction could like they're insane.
No,
But y'all are
Bunga is
okay with
crazy.
that. Right. Like it like I've seen him as an anime girl in gotcha games, and y'all are fine with that. It's fine when that's happening. But it's like, oh, you put a black person in a video game, it's a problem, it's a problem. And it's like it's just it's so silly. It's so silly.
Yeah, it's like
I can't even be mad at it because it's just so absurd.
it's ridiculous. Um, I don't know. You're talking about like Oda Nobunaga as like an anime girl. It just reminded me of
I've
like we talked about it a little bit last week about like how they talk like they talk about like the designs of certain characters in Western media
in
versus
Hades.
like
Yeah.
Japanese media, and it's just like overly sexualized and infantilized. It'll be
And
like
it's just like
they look like a little girl, but and I literally just read it. Hold on, I gotta find this tweet. I just read a tweet that low key describes this situation not this situation, but situations like what we were just talking about and talking about
talking
last
about.
week.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find it. Okay, here it is. So people be thirsting all over Jujutsu Kaisen, especially women.
Right, of course.
And somebody, this lady posted, "Haruto's stronger than me because I would have unzipped Nanami's pants and showed Shibuya a real incident." And then people, guys in the comments getting upset, calling him thirsty, despite the fact that guys do this with anime girls all the time.
All the time.
And then she like posted, "Fanboys mad I'm thirsting after a grown man with a 401k and a pension plan. Meanwhile, defending they got crushes on 2,000-year-old anime girl toddlers with boobs the size of 5 mountains." Like they
No,
make these
for
characters look
real.
like little girls, but then give them very womanly features. It's like, bro, get your life together.
Right.
Get your life
It's
together,
like
dog.
what I think of specifically when I think of this, every day I regret the fact that I like Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid because it's so good. But then the character designs and then Lukoa, it just like it could have been great. It could have been fantastic. We could have had lesbians, but no. And it's just like we're in the trenches.
Yeah.
We are in the trenches, and I would like to be out of the trenches, please.
Yeah, but going back to Assassin's Creed, it's like
right. We lost the plot a little bit.
they try to pretend like Japanese people didn't like the Japanese trailer, but all the comments are a bunch of Americans talking about I'm not Japanese, but and it's so stupid. It's so ridiculously stupid. Go play Tales of Kinsara Zao, guys. It stars black people. It's made by a studio created and headed by a black man. And go play Deathloop, made by Arcane Leon, which their sister studio Austin got shut down, and who knows how long they're gonna live after Blade comes out.
Right.
And Deathloop has 2 black protagonists. It came out 2 years ago. Support black business. It's on Game Pass also. You know, and the change you want to see in the world, you gotta support it. Zao is only $20 and free if you have the PlayStation Plus subscription. Deathloop is probably discounted at this point. It's probably like 50 something. Mm-hmm. And like I said, it's on Game Pass. So if you got Game Pass, you can play it.
If for nothing else, spite the racists.
Exactly. We need more games like this. Yeah, it might have been. It was definitely before you joined the podcast, but I talked about how like when Deathloop first came out, it was like it was the first game in years that was a game only starring a black person. It wasn't like there's 2 protagonists and one of them's not black. It was a game I played and I was like, not only does it start 1 black person, it has 2 black protagonists. 2. And you don't see that. Whenever a black person in a game it's GTA and they're a criminal, or it's a fighting game and they're one of many characters on the roster, and they're usually one of like maybe 2 other not 2 other black people, but one of like 2 black people in the entire roster.
Yeah.
So it's like we just need more stuff like this. Yeah, this game I hope is good. I hope when we see that gameplay in June, which is pretty soon.
Yeah.
June starts Saturday. Month. So
yeah.
Like 6 days from when we're talking now. So yeah. Yep. I'm excited for this. Comes out like I said, November 15th. But yeah, that's all I got if you don't have anything.
1,000 Year Door. I want to talk a little more about it.
Let's talk about that.
Yes. Okay. So usually I would be like, it's peak. Blah, 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 blah. I do have some qualms with it as an original 1,000 Year Door enjoyer. I do have some problems with it. Now, I'm going to start with the positive because it's really good. It's a really, really good remake. I really am enjoying it. I love like the visual style. I love the updated like dialogue. Like I think they completely retranslated it from the ground up, and there's been a lot of controversy around that. I'm going to pointedly ignore it because it's stupid. But like it's retranslated from the ground up. The visuals are stunning. They're really, really great. They look really, really good. It plays really, really good. It's close enough to the GameCube edition that it's like it doesn't the transfer over isn't jolting. The soundtrack is great. Now there's unique battle themes for every area, which I think is a really good touch. It kind of shocked me at first because it was like I thought it would just be the same song, but it's not. I will say that for all the good, there is still some bad. A big criticism for original 1,000 Year Door was the amount of backtracking that there was. They did not fix this as much as I thought they were going to. Like there's better quick travel, yes, but getting to it is a little bit of a hassle. There's some design decisions that are really questionable to me. Like the HUD in battle is a lot smaller than it was in the original game, and I'm really having a hard time getting used to that. And then also the controls with the control stick, I'm fighting for my life trying to select things in menus because the D-pad moves too slow. So I'm like, let me use the control stick, but then I misselect and I tattle an enemy twice.
I was gonna say, is it like a cursor type situation?
Yeah, it's a cursor type situation, and like or not, it's like Persona 5's menus where it's like the list and you select the things, but the sensitivity on Switch control stick is so it's really silly.
Yeah, they be having a lot of problems with those joysticks.
Yeah, I'll skip over menu options or I'll try to like select the one or it just won't move at all. And it's like, I don't know if that's Nintendo's problem or if it's like my controller, but that's been kind of impacting my enjoyment. Also, there's a lot of dialogue mistakes. There's a grammar error in one of the first prologues or intermissions, which was questionable. But other than that, I'm really enjoying Thousand Year Door. I'm at chapter 3 right now, which is my least favorite one, but it's gone by quick. Also, you can't skip dialogue unless you've seen it before, and that's like probably my biggest pain point with it because it's like it all scrolls at the same thing, and some of the dialogue scrolls really, really slow.
Oh, that
And it's like
sucks.
if I played the game before, right? Please let me skip the dialogue. Because with Mario RPG, they don't have this problem. You know how you can usually in RPGs like press a button and all the text will pop up at once.
Yeah.
Thousand Year Door does not do this unless you've seen the dialogue before. And so like it really slows the game down significantly because it's like and sometimes it doesn't even do it even if you've seen the dialogue because like I said I'm in the glitz pit right now and the dialogue for confirming matches is the same every time. And yet sometimes it won't let me skip past it and it's a whole thing. Also, I didn't get the Yoshi color that I wanted in the glitz pit, and I'm a little pissed off about that. But that was human error. I can't be mad at the game.
Yeah, this is like me when that dog knocked on my door. But anyway, I'll never get over that.
Right.
But yeah, that's dope. Y'all watched one review. I watched was it Nintendo's live review of the game. Looks cool. It's not my speed,
It's a good
but
game.
looks interesting.
Yeah. I'm excited for Dark Moon to come out. I'm not gonna buy it personally.
Are there any like
because I
Zelda turn-based RPGs?
um off top, no. We've got like a Zelda hack and slash in
Yeah.
Hyrule Warriors.
Because I was
But
thinking
they should make a Zelda RPG.
if there
I think
was
that
a
would be fun.
yeah, I feel like Zelda like just makes sense because of the setting. But I was thinking if there is
Yeah.
a Zelda RPG, what if they like a Metroid turn-based RPG? That would be funny.
But I feel like it would be fun enough. Like it would be gimmicky enough to be enjoyable. Like it definitely wouldn't be the best Metroid game ever, but
Yeah.
it would be fun for the kicks and giggles.
But yeah, is that it?
Yep, that's all I've got.
Cool. You know, you can find my ads below me, Aiara's at below them, the Muskets at below that. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel if you want to see more storytelling content, and to click notification bell so that you're notified when we post. Peace.
See ya.